everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Ford Family Funds. My name is Rachel and I'm here today to share with you how I am setting up my sinking funds trackers. If you're new to my channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button as I share with you about my budgeting and what I'm doing to save money from budget to budget and week to week. So here on Ford Family Funds, I'm saving dollars one budget at a time. So planning ahead for sinking funds is new for me. I've been budgeting for over 10 years, using more so spreadsheets, and then the past couple years I've been budgeting in my Happy Planner. Though moving forward with 2021, I wanted to plan ahead better regards to sinking funds. So in my last video where I shared my yearly budget for 2021, I did share some ideas about my sinking funds and the different categories that I had set up. And then the way that I'm saving for my sinking funds is I have certain goals each month that I am putting money into savings for. And I'm trying to do that, a couple months ahead of time. So that way the money is in my account and ready for when I need to use that money. So I didn't quite like how I had my setup for the sinking funds. And I've been really loving these boxes and kind of layering boxes over bigger boxes and then using this to set up in a visual way how I'm tracking my goals, what I want for this channel, cleaning tasks, and in this case, my sinking funds. So earlier I was able to make this sheet. I had some Happy Planner inserts that were in the big size. So I actually cut them down to the classic size. I'm very much the motto, use what I have. And I really liked the You Got This and this green color. I just thought it was very popping and fresh. So I wanted to use that paper. I had some of these boxes from a Happy Planner sticker book, the one for Supermom. So I was able to use some of those. And then I also had these colorful boxes by the Happy Planner. That is, something I've been using to set up, a few different spreads. So I basically layered different sizes according to how much I expect to track for that individual sinking fund. All right, so for my sinking funds, I have a few different categories. So I'll start by just putting here sinking funds. All right, so here the first one is insurances. And then my second one is gifts. So I did bigger boxes for these because I'm expecting more transactions to come out of those funds. The next one here is vacations. And then the next one down here, a smaller one, is camping. So in the summertime, usually in August, we do a camping weekend. And then vacations, we do have a few things scheduled this summer. Down at the bottom here, this tracker is for Kohl's. And then on the other side, this big one here is Christmas. And then next to that is my cat's fund for when they go to the vet for their yearly appointments. And then I have my car maintenance fund. And down here are my cleaning supplies. And the last one is an education savings account for my son. All right, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to put the goal for each of these. So I'm actually going to do that in a different color pen. Now I can't find my pen. Here it is. Okay. So my goal for insurances is $1,800. For gifts, that's $750. And vacations is $3,000. And camping is $500. My Kohl's is $1,200. But instead of a goal, I'm going to put budgeted for the year is $1,200. Because typically this actually gets paid out of spending, but I like to have an idea as to how much I'll spend in the year. And Christmas, my goal is $1,500. My cat's vet appointments, the goal is $300. For car maintenance, my goal is $600. So that includes my registration fees and the inspection. My cat interrupted us. So my goal for my cleaning supplies, which I order with a direct company, Norwex, my goal is $350, but that might also come out of spending. And then my son's education account, the goal is $2,000. Now I do have a separate savings account where we're saving money for a house, and that also counts for our emergency fund, and that is being tracked separately in my planner. When I showed you my January 2021 setup for the year, I had showed you that tracker. You can go back to that video. It's linked in my description, so you can check out how I set up my Happy Planner with my yearly budget. All right, so as I was just going through that process of listing my goals, I realized that I want to have a sheet where it shows each month and what it is that I'm saving. I do have that listed in each month's planner spreads, but I realized I want to have it in one spot. So I'm going to make a new sheet here and show you as I go along. So sinking funds, this will be monthly goals. All right, and I just went through my colorful boxes and pulled out the sheets that still had this size left, so that way I can use those here on this. All right, so this one will be my February savings. So in January, these were the goals for what I needed for February. So I'm just going to go through and put 12 months. So I have 1, 2, All right, so now that I have my new Sinking Funds monthly goals tracker here, I am going to now fill in by the month and when I want to save that money, and what it's going to be used for per month. So this is for the month of January. So these are my January goals and February goals. And I'll just fill in the other months. So the way that I set up these goals is each month I have a certain amount that I'd like to save that is in preparation for a future month. So I have my bigger number for each sinking fund, but then I've looked at where in the year am I going to spend money for that sinking fund, and therefore setting my monthly goals according to that. I've decided to do this system instead of a monthly amount for my sinking funds because sometimes I've not been able to reach my goal and I might feel more defeated when that happens, and that can be a setback. And so I know myself, and by setting some smaller goals in the beginning, I felt like I would have more success. And then for some of those bigger goals that are upcoming, talking with my husband about our finances and seeing if he can help contribute more when we have those bigger months, like for vacations, that is something that we can talk about. And then as I reach my goals, let's say earlier, I can then start putting money aside into the next month's goal. That was my thought process. So January goals is for February. And the 3 sinking funds are Valentine's Day, which would be for gifts, and my dating anniversary, 13 years, also is under gifts. And then life insurance for my husband is $150. And then February goals, I'd be looking at savings for April. And my goals for this month were $200 for my renter insurance, so that would be under insurances, and then funding my cat's vet appointments. So I have 2 cats. They go annually to go get their rabies shots. It costs around $150 for the visit, so $300 total. Sometimes my older cat does have unexpected emergency visits, and so having this money aside could help us also with that, and then I can replenish the fund if that happens. So that's why I set that big amount early, because sometimes she has needed to go earlier in the year. Just depends. So for March, my goal is to save for May, because I know in May I have a few different things happening. We have a trip planned with my mom. So I'm expecting $200, which will go towards food. And then I also have my insurance, my car insurance, which is $565.50. I am considering getting some new quotes to see if I could get a better rate. And then at that point, we also in May will have another life insurance payment for my husband. Because we do pay that quarterly. It's technically $141.44. But then I also have some smaller policies that come out every like 6 months, and I don't really have those planned appropriately, so I'm just putting extra money, a little bit extra money into that account, or into that sinking fund, I should say. All right, so for April, I am doing this one for June. All right, so I know in June we have a few birthdays. So just overall, I'm saying gifts is $250. And then I also have another trip with my mom planned for the end of the month. And that will be a bigger trip. So I'm planning $400 for food and some tickets to go to an amusement park. And then during this month, my goal is to put money into my car fund. So that is a bigger number of $600. Now for May, my goal is to put money into a sinking fund for July, because that is when we have our big vacations happening. So I'm planning to go to Georgia to visit some family. So I want to put aside $400 for that. And then a big family trip to Virginia Beach is happening. And that would be $2,000. And I'm just thinking about my final payment for that trip is due in May. So part of that sinking fund will go into a sinking fund account for expenses, and then some of that will go towards paying the balance for our room. My family, we rented a house. I'm really excited. I'm hoping, that the pandemic has calmed down by then. Otherwise, we'll all be hanging out with our masks, and, it is what it is. Being safe as best as we can. So in June, I'll be planning for August and saving for August activities. So at that point, I would be putting money aside for a camping trip, $500. And then also another life insurance payment will happen in August. So putting aside $150 for that. Now in July, I'll be planning for September. Just abbreviate there. So that's another month where we have a few gifts and events happening. So $150 for gifts. And then my second Volkswagen insurance payment is due in September. So putting that money aside. In August, I'd be looking at November. Well, I didn't write for November. That's going to bug me. I'll change it later. My whiteout is downstairs. So again, November is a heavier month for birthdays. So I'm putting aside $200 for gifts. and then also another life insurance policy for my husband. And September is when I would put money aside for Christmas. So that is looking at for December. And that is really the only one that I'm saving there. So the big $1,500 for Christmas. And October, though I do hope to open this sooner than that and get some money in. I already have some in savings in a different account. So this we could say for end of year. So that would be my son's ESA account, putting $2,000 in for the year. And then here I just have extra. So extra e-fund amount, I had put $1,600, which is our rent payment. And again, if I can do that earlier than that, that would be great. And then again, for end of year, in December, would be putting an extra $2,000 in a mutual fund for my son. So those are some bigger stretch goals that I have. So hence, I'm putting them towards the end of the year. See what happens. That's like my motto, right? Just see what happens, but have these goals and make them happen. So as far as January goals, with my stimulus fund, or the stimulus money that I received for me and my son, I was able to already fund my January goals and my February goals, because this was a total of $250, and I put $250 into savings for those accounts. And then this was a total of $500, and I also put $500 into those accounts. So I am psyched. That is so great that I'm already 2 months into my goals. That feels really good. So now I am starting to put money aside for March. This one is a total of, I think, $900. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it was $915.50. So I'll have to put that down here. Yep, $915.50. All right. So I already put $15.50 into my savings account. And therefore I'm starting to chip away at that $900 for the March goals. So that feels really good too. All right, so I switched over to this sinking funds totals because I do want to track what I've put in so far. So for insurances, I have put in $150. and 200. So I've already put in 150 for life insurance. So I just put plus 150 February life, and then I'm going to say plus 200 for rent insurance. So I already have 350 set aside. And then for gifts, I've also put in 100 for our February events, where I might be spending some money for gifts. And then I also funded my cat's vet account. So I'm going to say plus 300, and I'm going to write here, funded. Woohoo! And I think when I find a big check mark, I'm going to add that in to give it a little life. All right, so those are those pages. And just to recap for you, I have in my planner, I'm also using the Happy Planner budget kit. So to go along with these sheets that I've made, I also have these budget kits where I'm tracking my savings. $250 for January is complete. And I wrote down when I transferred some savings for my sinking funds. Yada is a new account that I opened that I'll share more with you about, but that's where we're putting our emergency fund and our house savings. And then I did on Saturday $1,550 into my sinking funds for March. I'm not doing cash envelopes for these, but instead a cashless system where I'm thinking about what I have in my account according to these different categories and envelopes. Maybe at one point I'll create envelopes to track, but at this point, this is what I'm doing. And this goes along also with my sinking funds here. So I'm keeping track as to my total amount because my goal is to have funded $10,000 worth of spending. So this way I can see that tracking. And this is where I'm tracking the eFund house payments or house savings. And I think that was it that I wanted to show you to recap that's in here. Yep. All right, so that concludes my sinking funds setup, my new setup that I have here. So I really appreciate you watching my channel as I grow and share more with you about my life, my financial goals, and what I'm doing here to save money, to save dollars every budget, one at a time. And I look forward to sharing you the next time. Thanks for watching.